We're gonna start by going to the farmer's market, and then I'll get my greens. Then we'll go to a regular shop and get the rest of the stuff that I can't get at the farmer's market. Okay, then we're making the Wellington with mushrooms and vegan minced meat and a red wine reduction sauce, because I posted that on Instagram the other day and got requests for a recipe. And you know what? We're gonna make that. I love this basket, by the way. And while we're at it, we're gonna go to the farmer's market. We're gonna return this pot from my microgreens that I get from them as well. I think there can be no doubt as to where my alliances are, because look at all of these. I am so excited for this amount of fresh peas. So here we have basically one of the cheapest wines that I could find. We're using it for a red wine reduction, so we're not really drinking it per se. We're using it in food, it's fine. And then we have Naturli's Shape Me Minced, which is one of my favorite meat substitutes. It's in and of itself, it's just really tasty. And then we have puff pastry dough. It tastes good in and of itself, which is not necessarily a given when it comes to meat alternatives. Usually I like to add cayenne, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, liquid smoke, MSG, whatever, just like to get a proper nuanced taste. Also, can you hear the bells? My window's open and the church is very close by. Getting music every hour. It's okay. Honestly, really charming though. I love living in the center of the city. You don't really need to add all that. I still season it because it's in my bones. I don't know. I can't not. I don't know. I really, really like this. That's why we're using it. And this is the ultimate cheat. You can make plant-based puff pastry dough, but it's just one of those things that when you've done it once, you're just never gonna do it again. Regular puff pastry dough is a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna bother spending hours and hours and hours doing that, when a lot of the puff pastry dough you can get in supermarkets is accidentally vegan. And I did say that we wouldn't be drinking this, but like, who we're kidding, we're gonna have a glass of cooking wine. Always. But let's just taste test the peas. This is my favorite snack of the summer, and they do not disappoint. These are really great size because they're still very sweet, but I also do love when they're super, super huge and almost like starchy tasting. I don't know. I could be livestock for all I care. This is plump enough. Okay. They're not even starchy, they're also sweet. No, but this is my favorite food. My pea budget throughout the summer, through the roof. Let's also taste test the strawberries, which I would recommend that you wash. We're not going to. These are organic though, so it's just to get like people's germs and fingers off it. Look at this dark red color. I was recently on a Danish island where you could pick your own strawberries, and it was the very last of the season on that field, and they were so plum and dark red and just full of flavor. Imported strawberries in Denmark could never. Synthetic strawberry flavor could never. I recently saw a TikTok where someone said like strawberries are just overhyped. They're never as good as you think they're gonna be. Say that again. So sweet, so good in my teeth. We're getting started on the food soon, but I have to gush just a wee bit more because they had some new tomatoes at the farmer's market. They had these. They do import some stuff from other farmers elsewhere in Europe, but they also grow a lot of stuff themselves, and they always have these fun experiments where they just try some things. Sometimes they have like 3 asparagus because they tried something new, and then they're selling their 3 asparagus among the rest of the stuff. And sometimes I'm really lucky and I get to the good stuff before they're gone. And the farmer, she said to me that I was really lucky to get these because they brought a bucket and they were basically all gone. I also got this tomato. And these tomatoes, can you just imagine, like balsamic glaze? These go in the oven real quick. You get a nice quality baguette. Enough with the gushing of the food. I am ready to start cooking. Also, to my own disappointment, I have for many years, as in always, never liked coffee. I have tolerated tiramisu. Actually, I kind of like tiramisu, but I've never liked coffee, not even sweet coffee drinks. And then, because I know your taste bud changes, I realized, to my own dismay, that I really like an oat caramel latte, iced. It's very frustrating because I already talked about the impact of coffee, so it is a consumption that I will keep to a bare minimum. I have one today. A good thing you can do is go for fair trade beans, but overall, limit consumption. Not every day, girl, not every day. I think overall, counting all the coffees I have ever had, this is my 5th, and I have already managed to spill 3 times on my white t-shirt. And it's so frustrating because I got this white t-shirt from a small brand here in Aalborg, and it's so fucking cool. So on the back, overall it's giving retro pizzeria energy, right? And then it says cruelty-free culture. I love it. And it literally has coffee all over it. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but there are small specks everywhere. So I'll go change. Anyway, that is just deeply frustrating. Okay, finally time for the mushroom Wellington. I recently shared pictures of this dish in a reel and I got some requests to do a recipe. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Also, I've made this so many times. It's been my go-to the entire summer. I've been in groups where we had to make something. It's perfect. And actually, it is based on a recipe in my plant-based gourmet cookbook. It is based on this, which is a beet Wellington using beet juice and seitan. But we're gonna give it a different spin using the mint and the mushroom. So it's gonna be a different experience. But this is the recipe it's based on. Currently my cookbook is only available in Danish, however. First of all, just to avoid that our cutting board is just running everywhere, I'm gonna place a towel underneath, nice and secure. We're gonna start by cutting some shallots finely. Now we're also gonna chop our mushrooms. Prepped veg. I have used 2 shallots, medium-sized ones, and about 2 handfuls of mushrooms. Now we're going to use the shallots both in the sauce and in the filling for the mushroom Wellington. I just transferred the filling to a bowl because I want to let it cool a little bit before we're gonna add it to the puff pastry dough. The absolute worst enemy of puff pastry dough is heat, so we want to keep that as cool as possible. So we're not gonna add the filling before it goes in the oven. We're not gonna let it sit outside with the dough and the filling combined because that's just gonna ruin the whole thing. And we're gonna let this cool for a little bit. I am speaking from very frustrating experience here, so keep the puff pastry cool. There, I told you so. We're about to make the red wine reduction. How you do that is that you take your shallots, then you saute them until they're translucent, then you add your red wine and your vegetable stock. Then you let that reduce until half before you add your vegan butter. You can also add herbs at this point, but I'm not going to today. This is the vegetable stock I'm using and I will hear nothing of the color. It's actually a vegan beef stock from Umami and it is frighteningly good. This trick never fails to just absolutely make my day. I used 200 milliliters of both the vegetable stock and the wine, by the way. There are tons of ways that you can wrap this. I like to do a slight braid. I think it rises really nicely in the oven, so you get all these very flaky layers, but you can do it any kind of way you want. This is just my preferred method. Now we're gonna pop it into the oven. I am baking it at 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes, give or take. I'll get back to you with an update on that. That depends on your oven, obviously, but until crispy golden brown. And she's back at the stove because the red wine reduction is about half of what it was, which was what we wanted. So now we're gonna add in some cool butter. Ideally, once you add the butter, you can serve the sauce basically right after as well. Look at how much the sauce is changing once you add in the plant-based butter. It's a tad less transparent and it definitely feels thicker. And we're just gonna let it simmer until we plate. So if you have trouble combining the sauce, making sure that it's thicker and less translucent, I have a tip that really helps. Simply take a little bit of your sauce. I have a little bit of my, one second, where is my whisk? Take a little bit of your sauce and then take a little bit of cornstarch. This is about a teaspoon. And for the amount of sauce that I have over in the pot, that's appropriate. Then in your tiny container, whisk it together until it's completely combined. This is not typical for a red wine reduction. However, it's really neat for a lot of different sauces, especially if you're making them plant-based and vegan. Also depending on what brand of vegetable broth you're using, what brand of vegan butter you're using, etc, etc. If you have trouble making sure that these things combine properly, I really recommend doing this. This is the final consistency for the sauce. I am very pleased, and I've also tasted it. It's awesome. I have 5 minutes on the mushroom Wellington all in total, so in that meantime I just made a little green bean arrangement so we have something green on the plate. I am so stoked about this. It looks perfect. So we're gonna cut a slice now and see if it holds up. I am so excited to eat this. Now, obviously, I have so many good slices left, so this is definitely what I'll be having for dinner tonight. Okay, I'm ready to dig in. So this is what happens every time I do a recipe and I make something and I take the pictures and I write the recipe and I do all the things. I am reminded of all the things that I could have done also. Mental note for everyone who is interested in making the mushroom Wellington. What you can do just to give it an extra kick of flavor, take some Dijon mustard, combine it with a little bit of agave or any kind of syrup, whisk that together and brush that onto the mushroom filling before wrapping everything up. Please do that as well. If you're interested in it, if you like it, I think it's just gonna be that extra. Yes, we do have to carry on with the day because I am livid today. The thing is, I have had this raincoat for ages. It was gifted to me by the brand back in 2018. I think, and I recently brought it to a festival where it was raining the entire time, so I was so glad that I had it, which also meant that when I came back home it was covered in mud. Yesterday I decided to do that lawn stuff, so I looked in the washing guideline inside the clothing tag, which said no dry cleaning and you had to wash it in a washing machine on 40 degrees Celsius. You couldn't tumble dry it, etc, etc. I followed the guidelines. Can someone tell me why it looks like this? This raincoat that I've had for ages, look at this. It is coming completely undone. All the water resistant layers are peeling off and they are in my entire apartment. They are in my washing machine, in all my laundry, in all my clean clothes now. It is everywhere. This spot especially, I've been so happy with the fact that I have a raincoat. I don't have to think about the practical clothing, but this, with all these holes in it, it's not specifically water resistant anymore. So I will have to find a new raincoat. So we're gonna go thrifting today to see if we can find some. I love thrifting for cute, fun things. I don't like thrifting for specific items because what I have broke. Ugh. This is so frustrating. Has any idea as to how I can reuse it, upcycle it, fix it? I don't know if this is a fixing situation, so perhaps upcycling is what we're going for. If anyone has any good tips and any ideas, even half ideas are welcome. Please let me know. Anyway, I think we're gonna go thrifting then. This is the outfit. I recently found this chain. I think it's actually for a belt or a bag, but I am now using it as a necklace. It closes like this. So I just turn this over. I will have to fix this shirt though, because all the buttons have come off. I have them saved somewhere, but I'm also just going to bring some stuff that I want to donate. I'm able to bike everywhere I need to go, luckily. And I have an e-bike, which is an absolute lifesaver. I got it on Facebook Marketplace a few years ago, and I low-key don't think a day goes by without me using this bike. I do wish, however, that all cities were designed with bikes in mind. After I drop off my donations, I check the whole store, even though I know I'm just looking for a raincoat. This is a rain skirt. What? Yeah. Just a rain skirt. Update on the rice cooker I'm looking for, by the way. I'm still looking. But I found some other gems and this vegetable cutter, which feels like it belongs in one of my anti-haul videos. Seriously, isn't this more difficult than just washing a knife? Dealing with and cleaning all these small intricate parts cannot possibly be more convenient for people with mobility issues either. I don't know who this is for, and I guess that's why it's in the thrift store. I am always tempted by glass, and I really liked these ones. I really seriously considered getting them, but I think one of the main reasons that stopped me was my lack of space for them specifically. I got a few things. Let's head back home. And I'm back. I think the only way to go forward is with an old-fashioned thrift haul. Did I find the thing that I needed? Stay tuned for that. The first thing that I am way too excited about is the first thing I see when I go into the thrift store. It's a painting. So it's an original, it's not a poster, it's not a print. It is an original oil painting. I think it might go in the kitchen. I love how he's drinking a beer in just like 1 second and you know he's about to drop some sick Bible verses. 3.5 quid for this. Then I got something kind of in the same vibe, but this is not for me. So I have tons of friends who do theatre, Shakespeare, every year. And one of the things that I know they always say is that when it comes to their costumes, which are period specific, they always need shoes. So I found these. Low-key, they make me think of that episode of Friends where Monica is wearing some Amish black boots that Rachel say she thinks goes with everything. Okay, I found a raincoat. Easy, 4 quid. Very bummed out about the fact that I have to replace something like this. It's just frustrating when you have a quality thing that turned out to not be as good quality as I thought. Before we get to the good stuff, I got a shirt. 2.5 quid. And I got another shirt. This, but I really like the bottom. It's sort of like flared. I also experienced an instant case of you're coming home with me. Oh, the coffee I'm not drinking every day, by the way. But you can also have tea in this. I don't know. I can even just have my pens in it, but solid messaging, 10 out of 10. Very excited. Paid less than a quid. What is up? And it's a rain skirt. Now I did see them in the store, but I only saw them in yellow and I was like, when there's not a jacket that matches, doesn't really make sense. But then I found it in black as well. 2.5 quid. What is happening? A rain skirt. This is the kind of practical but also stylish thing that I absolutely love. So even if my raincoat wasn't completely trashed and broken, I would have loved to find this. This works with everything. Rain skirt. Why didn't I think of that? My day is a million times better because of this rain skirt. Anyway, that is everything that I got. I am very excited about this. I'm going to bake some bread now, I think. I have half a packet of yeast and I want to make focaccia so I can have my tomatoes with my balsamic glaze on homemade focaccia. Doesn't that sound good? I think that sounds adorable. Luckily, this is the easiest recipe in the world. We have yeast, water, olive oil, flour and salt. And I'm Danish, so I'm using fresh yeast. I have a recipe for focaccia on my website, but I honestly just tend to wing it at this point. Also, eternal shout out to my machine. This KitchenAid is the best thing. Come on, girl. I'm talking you up. Please help me. That's one of the best things I've ever gotten on Facebook Marketplace. Now we're just gonna let her chill for 2 hours. Truth be told, it's the next day. I forgot about it. I put it outside to rise for 2 hours, which worked amazingly. Then my partner picked me up and we went thrift shopping for something he needed. Then we cooked dinner at his place. And now I'm back and it's been in the fridge for a while. I put it in the fridge before I left. So it's been there overnight, which for many types of bread doughs is great. I don't know how well it works with focaccia. I haven't tried that before. It's not as elastic as my focaccia dough usually is, but I hope it still works. We're gonna cook it either way. So I just made a tiny little one here. See, it's not as elastic as you ideally want it to be. You want it to be almost like a gooey consistency. And I hope with the heating up and getting out of the fridge and going back to room temp, it might get there. Anyway, I put it into this little oven safe dish, lathered it in olive oil and flaky salt, and we're gonna put this into the oven at around 200 degrees for however long it takes. While the bread is in the oven, I'll go and do some work, and with that I of course have the best work snack of all time. Just 1,000 peas. Literally what more do you need? Okay, they are out of the oven and they have just been resting for a while. They're still lukewarm, but they're not hot. And they sound good on the back here as well. Oh, it's very soft on the inside. I am so ready to have this. I feel like we're gonna taste test it just with some butter. Excited, indeed. Just a little bit on there. Is it focaccia? Probably not. But it is bread. Fixed it. And with that, that's everything for this video. I hope that you guys liked it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!